Fulfillment and success when manifesting your specific person always stems from within. Now, I don't just mean the living in the end, I'm already experiencing my desire perspective, but I also mean the way in which you speak to yourself about yourself. The dialogue that you have going on up here, which dictates what you assume to be true for you on a natural basis. For example, people will have things like, of course this would happen to me, or that's just my luck, or when's it all going to fall apart? Things like that. There is an internal dialogue going on within that is going against what their living in the end is. Now, many people do amazing living in the end work, but their internal dialogue quite often clashes with that. And often the internal dialogue is going on a lot more than the living in the end work. But threat not, because in this video today, I'm going to be giving you how you should be speaking to yourself to successfully manifest your specific person, and more importantly, having an amazing relationship between the two of you. I want to go with a little bit of an explanation, but also a little bit of a story about when I identified this being part of my own problem. So let's get into it. Now, let me start off by telling you the little bit of a story, and then we can go from there. So for those of you that know the chronological events of my manifestation process, this story comes right bang when I was probably my most insecure. So before I even met Katie, before all the manifestation of getting Katie back, this success story, or this, not success story, but this realization came from that moment. Now, at this period in time, I was quite insecure, as I mentioned, and this caused me to be interested in someone that I looked up to like a puppy dog. I was essentially sat there waiting for them to validate me, to give me attention. I wasn't doing things that made me happy because I was waiting for their text and waiting for their calls and such things like that. And as you can imagine, my internal dialogue was, please, can you give me some attention? Why are you not giving me some attention? You're too good for me. What do I have to do to get your attention? And things like that. While I was actively manifesting for texts back then, I was probably only doing about 30 minutes a day-ish worth of affirming for the texts, but easily doing an hour, 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours worth of just constant, why is it not working? Please give me attention. Please validate me, and those kinds of things. My internal dialogue was firing off with every possible negative self-talk statement that you could imagine. You could have jumbled a bunch of random words together, made complete lack of sense, and it still would have been a statement my mind had told me about myself. That's how bad it was. And as you can imagine, my 3D reality reflected that. At best, I would get the odd text, and that would usually come after a day or two of pretty solid consistency in the end result, but then it would all fall apart from then, because as soon as I got the text, my dialogue was, well, that's the last text you're going to get. Or, maybe it was just luck. Maybe she was just bored. I could never just receive a text because I actually deserved one. Oh, no. My mind was telling me I only received that text because I was the final option. She was bored of everybody else and it was just my turn. Now, does it really sound like I deserved the success from a perspective of why my success story wasn't coming? No, it doesn't. And this is a problem a lot of people have. Their internal dialogue completely contradicts or goes against the full end result fruition that they're trying to reside within. Now, of course, even if you do have a bad internal dialogue, if you are out affirming it, you will get success. But most of the time, people are not out affirming it. Most of the time, people are doing great affirmations work or visualizations or whatever, but the internal dialogue going on the rest of the time, whether conscious or unconscious of it, is absolutely kicking their ass, like it did to mine. But there was a pivotal moment when I realized this factor. That was when I was speaking to my mum. Now, my mum knew this person, and my mum essentially said to me, look, why are you fooling yourself? She's clearly not interested. And lo and behold, that was one of the internal dialogue things that I had going on. Who am I kidding? I'm clearly not good enough for her. Obviously, my mum's words were slightly different, but it essentially related that. So what did I go and do with that information? Well, my mind went, oh, I can make my mum reflect my thoughts. That must mean I can make her reflect my thoughts. So instead of taking my mum's advice and actually just moving on, I doubled down. But this time, I doubled down with a bit more of a realization. Now, this realization did take a couple of days for me to actually fully understand, but I realized what I was doing wrong. Dominant state. As I talk about in all of my videos, I was not actually aware really of what my dominant state was. At this time of my manifestation process, I was still relatively new to it all, so I was kind of under that sort of mild impression that affirming for 10 minutes in the morning and night was all I had to do, as long, and then let my mind go to crap the rest of the day. Very big wake-up call for when I realized that wasn't the case. So then when I realized that dominant state is what manifests, and my half an hour of affirming a day compared to 2 hours of beating myself up was never going to work. So I realized I needed to switch up. Now, I struggled back then to just stay true to the end result. Even in spite of negative self-talk and stuff, I struggled back then to go, no, that's not the case, because this thing is. So what I made use of back then was I made use of a friend that I had. Now, this friend was not someone that I'd spoken to for a little while, but when we were speaking regularly, this friend was my biggest hype person. Anything I did, this friend thought was pure gold. They were absolutely amazing to have around, and I am sorry to hear that, things kind of drifted apart the way that they did. Of course, I can change all that with my awareness, but, let's leave that out for the moment. Let's just talk from human to human right now. But they were my biggest fan. And they would constantly validate me. And this is probably why I was so insecure, because at this time, that friend wasn't really involved in my life anymore to the degree that they were. So I wasn't being validated on a day-to-day basis. But I realized this person would just hype me up over everything. Could be the smallest of things and they would hype me up. And I realized that's what I needed, but from me. For as long as I looked at the external reality to provide that for me, it might feel great in the moment. But first off, it was hard to create because I wasn't fulfilled within myself. So trying to get the 3D reality to fulfill me wasn't the easiest. But also, I forgot what the other thing also was. But also, when it wasn't there, I then felt more insecure because I wasn't validating myself. So I started telling myself the kinds of things that this friend would tell me as if I genuinely believed them. For example, if I was having moments of like, well, this is too good to be true, I would focus on my positives. Yeah, maybe I'm not the most attractive person she's ever met, but I have this great financial situation. I'm a really hard worker. I've got a great personality. I make her laugh, or I make people laugh. And I would focus on the positives, because what so many people do is they immediately focus on the reasons they can't have something, as opposed to the reasons why they could. So I would focus on the potential reasons why I could have something, the things that built me up. And over a couple of weeks of doing this, all while gradually getting more and more movements. Sometimes she would actually message me first. Other times she would respond a little bit quicker. Just things to kind of reflect this newfound sort of sense of self. Eventually I got myself to a point where I could actually genuinely sit there, and this is the part that I really want you guys to start talking to yourself but actually be like, actually, you know what? I am the prize here. I'm genuinely more than good enough. This person is actually lucky to have me in their life. They are lucky that I'm even interested in them. They know that I'm the best option for them, which is why they are pursuing me. I could got myself by focusing on my positives, because of course where focus goes, energy flows. I then managed to turn my internal dialogue away from, oh, well, why would this happen, Matthew? You're a pile of nothing, give up, onto you're a pile of nothing in most things, but, there's a few little specks of gold in there somewhere. And with that, gradually building up more and more and more until I realized, actually, yes, when I start telling myself I'm pure gold, my reality reflects it. And that's the point that I got to. I started telling myself that I was more than deserving of this person, that they were lucky to have me in their life, that they knew I was the best and most perfect option for them, that they're lucky that I even have interest in them in the first place. And with some consistency in this, and this is where the sort of success story comes in. This is what really clicked, that I really did hit the nail on the head with my internal dialogue, was there came a time where they actually said to their friend at a party that I was at that they were concerned I wasn't even interested in them anymore, and they continued pursuing me for the rest of the night. It was a complete 180. I had worked on my internal dialogue. I had continued to live in the end. I definitely still, resided within the space of texts and meetups and stuff like that. But my internal dialogue was now finally backing up my texts manifestations and my meetup manifestations instead of going against it. Because it's so much easier to reside within the space of they're texting or they're in a relationship with you or whatever it is that you want, when your internal dialogue is saying, well, why wouldn't they? When your internal dialogue is saying, we're the best thing since sliced bread, you know, we're cooler than a flip phone, we're all of these kinds of things, it's so much easier for you to then reside within the end result. Because if you're residing in the end result under the basis of I'm the best thing ever, you're going to sit there thinking, well, why wouldn't they have a relationship with me? But when you don't have that good sense of self, when you don't build yourself up, when you don't become your own biggest fan, trying to tell yourself that they want a relationship with you when you hate yourself or when you don't see a lot of worth within yourself becomes a lot more difficult. Now, of course, what's going to probably win in that situation? The one that you resonate with most and feels more natural to you. They don't want me because of all of these negative internal talks. So if we start building up a more powerful and more self-empowered internal dialogue, all of a sudden then the residing within the end result, the attachment to the outcome, the concerns, the anxieties, all of these negative emotions and feeling states that come with not feeling worthy start to dissolve. And when they dissolve, they can only ever be replaced with something that is the opposite. In this case, best thing since sliced bread, cooler than a flip phone, having my desire. And that is exactly my little success story and exactly what I want you to do. I want you to start building yourself up. I want you to imagine that you are a celebrity and how your little fanboy and fangirls would be to you, you're going to do the same thing for yourself. There's celebrities out there, musicians that do that with their hair and people go absolutely crazy over it. You should be like that with yourself. You should be focusing on all of your wins, no matter how small or big. You should be thinking that you can do anything, no matter how easy or difficult it is. You should be saying that you are worthy and deserving just because you simply exist. And you need to hype yourself up at every given moment. Because where your focus goes, energy flows. If you're hyping yourself up, your reality is going to give you more things to hype yourself up about. If you're saying that you're good enough and worthy and deserving, your reality is going to reflect this. If you become the best thing since sliced bread, you are going to be the best thing since sliced bread in your reality, and everyone and everything around you will reflect it, including your specific person. Now, of course, I did go back through a sort of negative internal state due to other sort of mental health reasons, which is what caused me to lose Katie when we got together. Roller coaster of a ride for me, specific people. But the same principles happened when I got Katie back. I started working on myself. I started building myself up again, got myself to a solid position internally, and things came back. She came back, our relationship got better, and now here we are. An absolute power couple in this industry, doing extremely well, helping other people manifest their specific people. But all of this comes from the fact that I am now my own biggest fan. And that's why I have so many of you out there who aren't just subscribers of mine. You're genuine fans, followers, friends. I have genuine people that support me, as opposed to going, I like what he says, I'm going to subscribe to him. You guys are like, I like him. I like what he says. I like what he's bringing. I like the demeanor, the personality. I like him. But that only comes because I finally like me too. So once you start finally liking you and bigging yourself up, your specific person's going to do the same thing. I really hope this video has helped. If it has, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. If you are in need of one-to-one help to help you overcome those anxieties and insecurities and all those kinds of things, to get you hyping yourself up, head down to the description and there you'll see the links to my website. If you'd like the full Manifest Your X-Back mini course, which is an hour and 40-minute long video packed full of all the information you need to manifest your specific person back, head over to the membership, which is linked down in the description, and select any tier because it's available to all of them, and go for the one that you're most comfortable with. If you're feeling a little bit tired or burnt out and you want to take a step back from manifesting, but still get your manifestation, I have the I Manifest For You service, which is absolutely incredible. Tons of success stories, which I'm always posting on my Instagram. So grab that while it's available, because I'm thinking about giving myself a little bit of a break from it in the next couple of weeks. So grab it while you can, and let's get you your desires. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you lovely people in the next one. Bye-bye.